So we start out with the blue-green Guildgate. We see an Elvish Mystic from Josh's side. So I was actually at a States event this weekend, and I did see some Bant decks. And a lot of the ones I saw weren't actually playing the Mystic. It seems like when you're top decking, it's probably the worst card you can top deck, which is why
Rematch.
a lot of Gen decks opt to. Wow. Well, then sometimes you get turn 2 Rematch.
Rematch is going to be very, very difficult to deal with, and he's going to.
Oh, I was wrong. This is not Blue-White Heroic. This is actually Maze's End.
A little different.
Definitely different. I was looking at the Simic Guildgate, and I was like, I didn't know he was a third color, and turns out he's actually playing Maze's End. Kind of a funny deck where you just, as you say, dirtle for the first 10 turns of the game, and then you just oops, I win with the Maze's End.
Right, exactly. And Maze's End is the absolute best oops, I win. So it looks like the Breemaz gets in here for damage.
So for 4 damage, bringing Jake down to 16.
Yep.
Josh is going to shock off his breeding pool there. I think they're both actually at 16. I think we saw 2 shock lands. Check real quick. But we see a Kiora come down from Josh's side of the field. Looks like he's considering what to do there. He will use his -1. His -1 allows him to draw a card and play an extra land, so very good there. Does hit his second land drop. So now we see Josh actually at 14, taking 3 shocks. Is that right?
Yeah, guess so. Hard to play that Breemaz and the Elvish Mystic.
It's kind of weird. My perception of this game is kind of messed up just because Josh already has 4 lands in play, and this could be a 5th land here. So you just see combat for 5, bringing Jake down to 15. Oh, that's not right. 11. Math is hard, guys. Math is very hard. So Josh is kind of playing out all his threats. If Jake did have the Verdict there, which he actually could cast, so it's kind of awkward. Like, if Josh is playing out all his threats, but if Jake just has the Supreme Verdict here, like,
the end the game.
Almost, pretty much. I mean, he does have a Kiora online, but it's drawing him a card every other turn. But we will see here. Jake's deck does play, I think, 12 fogs, so any one of them here would be fine.
Oh, he has to play. Oh, wow. Look, he's taking all the damage. 6. How much is that?
So 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Wow.
Is that bringing him to 1?
I think so.
So Jake's either playing this really conservatively,
or has nothing.
Or has nothing.
Or he really wanted to use his Maze's End.
Maybe he needed the last land drop to cast a certain spell in his hand.
Supreme Verdict?
He didn't need it for Supreme Verdict, actually. He did have... Oh, he did! I thought it was double blue-white. It's actually double white-blue.
Right.
So he did need the extra land there. So he probably will see his Supreme Verdict here.
That or a quick scoop him up.
Yeah. I was thinking if Kiora had just been going up this entire time, Josh might have had a Krakens come out after a certain time. I think it's like -8, but I mean, the Maze's End deck isn't doing much.
Looks like he had a discard, the Maze's End deck.
I discard a Swan Song there.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a combat and a Riot Control. So I believe he's going to gain life for each creature.
And then creatures deal no combat damage?
Yeah, so there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bringing Jake up to 8.
And the game continues.
And the game continues. So this is kind of, you'll see Jake's hands just get depleted like 1 card a turn, and then he'll just be able to, yeah, there's a Supreme Verdict.
Supreme Verdict.
So I'm guessing he just wanted to gain a bunch of life with the Riot Control there, and then Supreme Verdict to get him off the field. So he's back at 8, and still has a healthy amount of cards in hand.
Cure to deal with, but...
However, if Josh did have the counterspell there, which I don't think he plays main board, but if there was a counterspell there, could have been really bad for Jake. Lethal for Jake.
Yeah, and of course the Supreme Verdict is uncounterable, but maybe like something.
I mean, for the riot control that returned
right,
earlier.
right, true. Yeah, I was thinking like Boros Charm, because that's like the best kind of counterspell you have versus Supreme Verdict.
Right.
Yeah.
Boros Charm is not a card that Josh could be playing, but he could have possibly the Populate card.
That's what I was going to say. 1 white, 2 colorless.
What is that card called?
Root Defenses?
Rootborn Defenses.
Rootborn Defenses.
There
yes.
we are.
Here we are. Is that a Pelucranos?
Oh, we see a Scavenging Ooze.
Nope.
And a dude.
And we see an Urban Evolution on Jake's side. So he's definitely powering up.
This could be bad for Jake if he doesn't have a
land or fog.
An actual fog. I don't think he plays any untapped lands, so I think a fog here is. Oh, I did see the fog in his hand, so he does have it.
Wow. Just drew all those cards.
You can tell that this place has seen better days long as it's shot out. There's like fog.
Can we get a spot check on that card in the middle? The one that's not Scavenging Ooze?
Yeah, we'll have somebody check that out.
Mana Confluence is kind of a cool card in this deck. It seems like he gains enough life to where he can offset the amount of life that he's losing from Mana Confluence. It also kind of fixes his colors. Gives him an untapped source on turn 1 and 2. So he can cast his spells easier.
Being told it's a Sylvan Carrot.
It's a Sylvan Carrot. If I was Jake there, I would actually probably just take the 4 damage.
Because it's not lethal.
It's not lethal. And then if Josh, of course, activated his Scavenging Ooze to make him bigger, then I might have. Oh, jeez. Another Supreme Verdict down from Jake. And we do see a Guildgate come down, so I think we have 6 unique Guildgates there. So just 4 more, and Jake's got the game in.
And you get the backdoor victory from the Maze's End. Oh!
So you see a negate on the Sphinx's Rev end the turn.
No card draw for you, Mr. Bant. Where's that Kiora, I wonder? What's counters?
She's at 1. He's just going up, going down, going up, going down. So he's being able to draw an extra card every other turn.
Yeah, that's the way I like to use that card.
Right.
But it's hard to find a deck, like Maze's End deck is actually a good deck where you can actually play that extra land for every draw you get.
Right.
Most people, of course, prefer to use the Kiora for its ultimate, just kind of keep 1 permanent of your opponents at bay while you build it up to the ultimate and get your 9/9s.
9/9s or 8/8s?
9/9s.
Wow.
Yeah. Good. I mean, although, in the world of 5/5s and 4/4s, what really does it matter to get an 8/8 or a 9/9? But,
yeah, exactly.
But I believe they're 9/9 Kraken tokens.
So Elspeth kind of a trouble creature for Jake. It makes him kind of have to remove 2 things at once, both the creatures on the field and then the Elspeth itself. And he doesn't have a lot of ways to generate card advantage in his deck, so...
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Merciless Eviction.
Exile all Planeswalkers.
That's the 3rd sweeper of this game.
Let's let him not miss that Kiora.
Gonna go get a spotter for that. Make sure that Kiora goes away from that Merciless Eviction. That's going to be a devastating hit to Josh's side. Looks like a Courser is coming to play. Finds a Breeding Pool, which is immediately played. Josh gains a life. Nope, looks like we got 3 damage coming in here from Elspeth's soldiers.
It's actually 13-5 here. Is that a crackling perimeter?
That is. Tap a Guildgate to do 1 damage to target player.
Is it target player or is it creature and player?
It's
Do we
just.
know?
I think it's just. I'm pretty sure it's just players.
Okay, so it's kind of like a 3-turn clock at this point, but probably
Oh, got a negate for.
negate for a mystery card there. Probably a good negate.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get those negates, it's good. Oh, detention sphere on the crackling perimeter.
So it looks like Jake's not going to opt to activate any of his guild gates, but instead he's going to
He's gonna drop a fog.
drop another fog. Not take lethal damage there. Kind of the game plan.
Yeah, it's not really good to lose when you're trying to win.
Generally.
Curious if Jake still has the many cards in his hand that he had before.
I think I saw 3. He actually had, or 2 now. He hasn't played a land these last couple turns, but we'll probably see an activation of Maze's End. This go around.
Playing 1 card per turn to negate your opponent's attack.
So Josh's gonna gain 2 off the courser there.
Becoming a lot of depleting a lot of resources.
So I see a Druid's Deliverance, which is the populate fog.
And then the Maze's End activation. What's he at there? 4, 7. He's got his 8th one.
Yes, we have 8 lands in play. So 2 turns. If Jake's able to draw fog, I think he kind of has this game in the bag. But it does depend on his draws here. A Supreme Verdict would also be very good.
Look how he has him set up. He's got him set up in a way that shows that he needs 2 more. Mazes End all the way to the side. Now, you don't want to corrupt the set. It reminds me, playing with Mazes End deck reminds me of like when you're a kid collecting sets of cards.
Yeah.
Like collect set of 12, set of 10. Or you go to McDonald's, you got to collect the series. All the 8 different little toys of whatever you like.
Right.
As a kid
Or you collect, like, I don't know, a lot of people like cycles, like the Decree of Pain, Decree of Savagery, like the decrees, or like each one of the charms, which, like, the guilds are just a good way of doing that, because they always print 10 of a card, pretty much.
Right.
And so this is kind of like the same thing you see here as the guild gates.
Yeah,
It's
series
kinda
of
like that.
cards. Here we go. What do we got? Oh, is that the Supreme Verdict?
We do see a Supreme Verdict!
That's the 4th sweeper this game for Jake.
Oh, right, because we saw Merciless Eviction, which kind of
Yeah.
counts as a sweeper, because it did
Absolutely.
give 2 planeswalkers.
Jake's deck is merciless. He does not like
Right.
permanents.
And so
Oh
we
my
see the
gosh.
9th land come down. Maze's End is going to bounce to his hands. Did he play the Maze's End that turn?
I don't know, but Brimaz is looking like he's coming out.
So I think Josh's out here is Jake
I think that's
doesn't
happened
have the
with
10th
Maze.
land in play
Right.
in his deck.
Or it's in his hand. Well, no, I guess
If it's in his hand,
he
then
just
he
busts it.
does get to.
He plays his Maze's End because he needs Maze's End to activate the
Right.
static. Oh, boom. Is that it?
I'm sure you probably didn't really think anything of it. Maybe
I do not know what's going on.
I do not either. I will go
Oh.
check.
Looks like
Oh, we do see a.
I think he was showing them off. He was showing off cards.
Yeah, maybe.
Maze's End
Maze's End.
ends the game.
Ends the game. So interesting matchup here. I thought we were going to be seeing more of a matchup that favored the Bant deck, but I think this matchup favors the Maze's End deck.
Yeah.
I did not know he was playing Maze's End.
Yeah, I bet Josh wishes that Jake was playing
The blue-white heroic,
right
yeah,
now.
when he was gaining 2 life a turn, and he wouldn't have Supreme Verdict, so he'd probably have like 3 courses in play at the end of that game. So
Yeah, that was a brutal board for board permanents.
yes, definitely.
Like just smash and all the Supreme Verdicts, the Merciless Eviction.
You know what's good against the blue-white heroic deck?
What's that?
Kiora.
That's true.
Crashing Wave, yes.
Because it usually has one like awesome permanent.
Right.
And you're like,
I
that
will
does
target
nothing.
your Fabled Hero, and then also just blank your entire deck. I will blank your entire deck.
Yeah, Dirtle. I'll Dirtle.
I will
with-
Dirtle.
Yes, I will Dirtle.
I think the Mason deck Dirtles quite a bit better than the Bant deck.
That's true.
So,
Yeah, very true.
um,
That urban growth or
Urban Evolution.
urban evolution, that
The-
was very key in that.
Draw 3, play an extra land, so he got to. I don't think he actually played an extra land. Didn't
I
actually.
don't think
see
he
it.
actually any land. I don't even know if he played any
Yeah,
land.
he missed like 3 land drops and still had 12 lands in play at the end of that game.
Yeah.
So, Definitely kind of funny there.
This is a weird matchup. I wonder what we're going to see out of the sideboard.
Sideboard, I honestly have not seen either of these decks. I'm assuming some amount of counterspells from the Bant side of the board.
Yeah, and the Maze's End deck already had main deck negates. So those would be a sideboard card, but they're going to obviously stay in for at least the Sphinx's Revelations.
Sphinx's Revelations and maybe for the counterspells that he expects to see post-board. But I think the counterspells from the Bant side are really the crucial cards that we'll see in this next matchup. If he's able to counter 1 to 2 fogs, then he probably will be able to eke through enough damage to win. Maybe some amount.
Maybe a Banishing Light from the
Rootborn defenses, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Kind of an interesting.
Probably counterspells from Bant. Maybe negates on Josh's side.
Yeah.
Because so he can negate his negates or gainsays maybe from somebody.
Yeah, gainsays is also be very good. From the Bant side, I'm not sure what to expect. Maybe some more Banishing Lights for the Planeswalkers.
Yeah, you seem to have a pretty creature-heavy deck.
Yeah.
You know, with that third-turn Remaz and, like you said, the Vance decks that you usually see elect not to play the Elvish Mystics, but Josh's deck has the Elvish Mystics.
And you might choose to sideboard those out at the end of this game. Or in between games, because the Elvish Mystics obviously not very good against Supreme Verdict. Maybe it's good to play your Kiora on turn 3 or, ramp out a Johnny on turn 4, but it's definitely bad when the other deck is playing Supreme Verdict and you can just get rid of your Elvish Mystic as well as the other cards.
Yeah, I'm guessing that Josh is going to take out his Detention Spheres. I think you saw Detention Spheres?
I think we also saw Banishing Light.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's a lot of permanent destroying cards in a deck that doesn't have a lot of permanents.
Yeah, I think the only thing that he was able to get was the Crackling Perimeter. And
right.
I mean, he was still able to win through it. And he didn't actually need the Crackling Perimeter as his win condition. So
yeah, let's see what we got.
Let's see. Still shuffling up. Let's get these. It's kind of a long game 1, too. Already at 28 minutes in the round, so.
Yeah, that's what board sweepers do.
Board sweepers do that, as well as the Maze's End being able to dirtle pretty well. Cast Fog and then play Maze's End.
Funny, I haven't seen any aggro Maze's End decks yet.
What do you mean aggro?
Aggro.
Aggro.
Sorry.
I have not seen the aggro Maze's End deck.
I don't know.
either.
I wonder if that's even possible.
The
Exploration, maybe? If you play Modern or Legacy or something. I don't know.
I'm not sure how we do that. If we had Explore in the format. Explore Crackling Perimeter. I think
Or Summer Bloom.
Summer Bloom.
I don't know.
Play 3 extra lands. Yeah, definitely.
It was pure silliness. There's no way Maze's End can close out a game very quickly. Got a mana confluence, take a damage. Here comes a Courser.
And of course, in this matchup especially, the Bant deck doesn't mind if it's taking damage because it's probably not how Jake's gonna win his game.
There's Maze's End. Once again, way the heck on the other side of the board. I like how Jake places Maze's End all the way out there.
I like people who play synergy decks like this, who have like an alternate win con or like have a lot of stuff going on, can show exactly what's going on, so every player can kind of understand. Even though it's Maze's End all the way on the other side of the field, Josh definitely understands it. He has Maze's End in play, and these are exactly what guild gates I have in play, and which ones I still need.
Right, he's not like trying to like be deceptive or
right.
Put them on top of each other or something like that. Yeah. Very organized board state from Jake. You might get the organized board state award for tonight.
So we see Josh go down to 17, so not extremely relevant life total there, but and then the negate go down on Kiora. We had Jake win game 1. So see, is that a second Maze's End from Jake's side?
Yes.
It's kind of awkward.
Very
also,
awkward. But it's building
terrible.
up for future
sure
mana searches. But yeah, not the greatest thing. But since you said like you're pretty sure none of his lands come into play untapped, then it doesn't matter as much.
The kind of cool thing about Jake's deck too is it doesn't have to.
Oh, what is this? An Advent of the Worm? Oh, that's a negate though.
Jake's deck doesn't have to commit to fogging every turn. It just needs a fog on relevant turns. So when Josh is only has a Courser playing, he's only dealing 2 damage a turn. It's fine for him not to play a Fog because he's just going to play Fog on relevant turns and keep cards in hand and kind of just counter the spells that he needs to as well as negate the spells that he needs to. And
Yeah, and that's why the
sit back.
Yeah, and the courser, because of that, the courser is not as effective as other creatures.
Yeah.
Or he's not putting like a really big clock on the.
Yeah, maybe if it was a Paula Kranos, he'd force a Supreme Verdict from Jake or more Fogs from Jake. But the thing about Joss's deck is, it seems like he needs to overcommit, and then by doing so, he's just playing into Supreme Verdict.
Here comes another Advent of the Worm, and Swan Song. Have a 2/2. Give him a 2/2. Is that what that does?
Yeah, it gives him a 2/2 Swan, and we do see combat for 2. So all this is a lot of Josh kind of opted into the sideboard plan of Advent of the Worm, it seems like, being able to play his creatures at instant speed. So Jake has a harder, being able to have Jake tap out on his own turn.
Yeah, no, and maybe get that 5 points of damage in if Jake only has sorcery, speed, removal.
Yeah. But of course he does have the Fog. He always has the Fog.
Always has a fog. Is this a Miscutter Hydra?
It does look like a Miscutter Hydra. So this is a board that Jake might need to Wrath. So Fog here maybe, and then a Wrath. But he also might just opt to activate his Maze's End.
Yeah, I think he's going to take the 9.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow. Yeah. So that'll bring him down to 5. Kind of a dangerous situation for Jake because if he doesn't have the Verdict, he's going to be forced to play a Fog on his opponent's turn, and then Josh can always have the counterspell.
Right, especially after boarding.
Yeah.
Sideboarding.
But we might just see a Supreme Verdict here and have it be a non-issue.
Maze's End. 5 mana, he counts. Oh, he says pet go. Looks like it's a Fog.
So we do need, but if we see a counterspell here from Josh, which I don't know if Josh is running in his sideboard, then it could be bad for Jake.
Here comes a lethal swing, and there's your Fog.
Druid's Deliverance.
With Maze's End, mana up if he needs that, but
so we do see the Druid's Deliverance does resolve, but Josh is going to play Elspeth, and the Elspeth is going to quickly get out of control for Josh.
No negate for that Elspeth.
But Jake, I mean, if he survives for 4 more turns, actually only 3 more turns because he can play, he can activate 2 Maze's End in 1 turn.
Right.
Then he is A-okay.
He's looking like he's doing all right.
I would like to see a Supreme Verdict here. But of course, we can't all live in fairy dreamland.
That's true. With the Maze's End deck, you have to have like circumstances go completely your way. Like you can't take a lot of damage at the early game because you'll burn through all your fogs.
Yes.
Or your Supreme Verdicts. I don't know, this is kind of the perfect pacing for Jake.
Yes.
It was only 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage. Now there's a lot of damage, and he hopefully, if he has a couple fogs, like you said, it's only going to take a few turns.
Yeah, and we do, the Courser doesn't seem to be getting, oh god, riot control. So we see him gain 6, go to 11. And then we could see a devastating Supreme Verdict here next turn.
Absolutely. He likes to get, he loves to gain that life and then wreck the board.
Yep, that is a very good series of plays. Good plays here by Jake.
Oh, there's 3 more Elsbeth Soldier tokens.
So in seeing 2 Maze's End, he's able to, even though Maze's End comes into play tapped, he can play 1 on a turn and then activate the other one and then play the other one and then activate the first one.
So effectively doing it every turn.
Once every turn. So this is probably what is as aggro as the Maze's End deck gets.
Right. This is the aggro Maze's End deck, folks. 5 colors. 5 color aggro. Maze's End. Coming to an FNM near you.
Coming to an FNM near you. Dark Tower Games. Bellingham, Washington. We see 3 mana? 5 mana. Oh, I didn't see that.
Urban Evolution.
Urban Evolution.
Get some more fogs. Saw a blue card.
They can tell that you're someone.
Another
Lands.
Gruul Guildgate.
So not complementing the win condition. But
So we
still
should see Fog with Negate up, or we see Fog with Swan Song up, or Druid's Deliverance with Swan Song up. But we don't see Riot Control with the Counterspell up. So could be lethal here if Josh has a Counterspell in hands. We are seeing 3 riot control again.
Wow. And
So 6, 7, 8, 9.
counting them up. Wow.
I'm gonna go check life totals. There's been a lot of life gain here. I'm just gonna confirm.
Wow. 2 riot controls. That's really gonna give Jake a good buffer for life.
Not far off. We're actually at 18 to 21. So even though Jake has not had a board state this entire game, he is now at more life than the opposing player.
Doesn't seem fair.
Does not seem fair to me.
What does he have? 7 unique guild. Oh,
Crackling Perimeter. Kind of an interesting card to keep in here. I think in this matchup you kind of just want to dirtle more and
yeah.
play. Oh, Kiora? Okay. Alright,
What are we
alright.
doing? What are we doing? Maybe drawing some more cards, playing some lands. Be nice to, if he has guild gates in his hand, to just play them out. I mean, probably not. Probably just going to go with the Maze's End route here. Oh,
He
turn off
does
a miscutter.
turn off a miscutter. However, we do see Elspeth on 7, it looks like. We could see an ultimate here.
And a Sphinx's Revelation that actually hits. Could get very bad for Jake in a moment here.
Yeah, it could get very bad if Josh decides to ultimate his Elspeth here. This could be a lethal attack. I'm not sure. Let's see. Yeah, definitely a lethal attack. But
Let's see if Josh
We might-
elects to use his Elsbeth before he attacks.
or if he might also just want to go up this turn, make another 3 dudes, and then
Keep his Elsbeth around.
keep his Elspeth around at 1 counter. Also a good plan.
He's got 7 unique guild gates right now. So
And he does need all 10 to win, not just 10 guild gates in general. He does need 10 unique ones.
10 unique ones, yeah.
So Josh kind of counting those up, making sure he's playing his cards right.
Another Sphinx's Revelation. And
So I think we go up to 24 here. We do
Josh
go up
is
to
like-
24.
kind of inconsequential.
Definitely inconsequential.
This would be a match where you take, pay 4 or 5 life just to draw another card.
Yeah, and we might see he's holding up blue. We might see a counter spell here, Swan Song.
It looks like
Possibly out of
he
the board.
sacked the Elsbeth.
So this is a Griptide, returning all, or Etherize, I think, returning all attacking creatures to their owner's
That's
hand.
not very nice.
That is not very nice.
Wow. Look at Josh was so crazed after seeing that. He just flipped over his top card and it's like, what the hell was that? Wait, where do those tokens go? They go to nowhere, real. They're gone. That was crazy. That's a crazy card to play. Jake, you were a crazy man. Wow. If for no other reason.
So Mistcutter Hydra was not attacking, so
Because it was cured.
because he was cured, so it is still on the battlefield.
That is crazy. That is an awesome card to play. Congratulations, Jake. What's he got going on here? Kiora's going down to draw a card, playing an extra land.
So we did have a mistake. The Mistcutter Hydra actually has pro blue, so Kiora could actually not target it with its +1 ability, but we
Right.
caught it the second time.
Oh,
So
okay. Good.
But with Jake at such a commanding life total, and it looks like a win on the board actually, so don't think he's too worried about it. See a combat for 5 at Kiora. Kiora's gonna bite the bullet there. I think Josh is out is hoping that the land is not in
Existence.
existence.
Right.
He sideboarded his last guild gate out. That's what it looks like. His outs are.
Does he aggro? Oh, the aggro Maze's End deck wins.
So we show him the final guild gate, and that is the match.
Wow. Very nice. We gotta get Jake.
You want to see if you can get Jake
Yeah,
over
I'm gonna
here?
go see if I can get Jake.
You want to interview him?
Sure.
Cool. So we'll get him back here. I'm just gonna keep talking
ahead.
about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally. So kind of a focus. Kind of interesting match. Jake able to pull it out in the end. The Maze's End deck, very surprising. I definitely thought this could be a different matchup. Blue White Heroic is definitely not favored, but Maze's End did seem to be favored there. Very interesting deck choice by Jake tonight, and probably a responsible deck choice by Jake.
Yeah.
I think it's a really sweet deck. Not one we see very often, but one we have seen at even top tables at SCGs and stuff. So
it's exciting to see that card. I like it just because it's so unique. It's not a
Yeah.
creature. It's not a planeswalker.
it's definitely one of those cards when it was spoiled in the set. I saw people online like play testing and kind of seeing like what they can do, and it didn't really take off. But there are some people who still kind of like playing the quirky synergy deck, like playing cards like Maze's End. Alternate win conditions is a big one, like Battle of Wits. You'll see guys at Star City games and
Right.
they have the tower of cards.
The Tower of Power.
Yeah, the only one I've seen too is in pink sleeves. It's really obnoxious. So it's just this tower of 200 cards in pink
I
sleeves.
remember, I think Battle of Wits was in standard for 2 rotations, 2 seasons.
Really?
Yeah, and at both times it was in the standard format. It was played by people, like a lot of good players too. The trick would be to play with a lot of card draw or a lot of library manipulation cards like tutors.
Yeah.
And then you get to whatever you wanted, and that
The-
250 cards didn't matter.
The one I saw kind of operated like a Bant deck, like you've seen last standard with like Restoration Angel, Centaur, Healer, Thragtusk, like anything that just gains them life and then like flickers. And then
Oh, wow.
also ways to, and then of course they had the black cards to like search for their Battle of Wits, but a lot of it was like Bant / black for looking for Battle of Wits, and the Bant was just like try to see my life total as much as I can until I can get to my Battle of Wits and win the game.
Yeah, and so with this, getting back to the Maze's End deck, it was really interesting to see the riot control.
Riot Control really is a pounding there.
It's like not only just a fog, it's like a fog plus some buffer because it gives you that extra life
Right.
back. And I'm guessing that Jake has matches where he plays the riot control, gains a bunch of life. Like if he's at 6, he prevents like 6 or 7 damage.
Right.
Gains that life, and then he can take another hit before he has to play another fog.
Right. So it's kind of like almost a double fog depending on the board state.
Yeah.
And maybe it causes the player to also commit more to the board state so he can just Supreme Verdict.
Right.
Did we end up talking to Jake and see if he's coming over?
Oh, yeah, he actually had to make a phone call, so he was unavailable.
Totally. So I guess that's the match, and we'll be coming with you round 4.
Yeah.
Probably another round after that, and then top 8. So we'll bring you round 4 here shortly. But stay tuned, and we'll be back with you in probably around 10 minutes.
Sounds good.